Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, I might have to sneeze, by the way, just FYI. It's one of those that feels like it's coming, but it's not. But nonetheless, let's update the update on today's movement of Tesla. Let's talk about it, what happened, what we can expect. Tomorrow is the witching day, is it quad witching? Essentially, a lot of options are expiring tomorrow, pretty much. And tomorrow might have some pretty serious volatility, maybe even potentially a VIX crush tomorrow as well. But nonetheless, regardless, let's just go into it. Tesla, actually, believe it or not, as absolutely shocking as it is, and as I said before, Tesla sometimes truly just does not care about the market. It's like it's in its own little world, you know what I mean? And today was another one of those examples. Previously, the market was up substantially. Tesla was down substantially. Now, the market is actually down quite substantially, like 3.5% for QQQ. Is not a small drop. It's not the biggest thing we've seen in the world, but it's definitely not a light drop. It's a pretty serious drop for the market. Tesla, on the other hand, somehow actually green, up 0.6%, which honestly, with how we've had the days lately, and especially considering the market is quite severely red today, with Tesla being green, I'll take it. Honestly, sometimes you just gotta take what you can get. You know what I mean? And this is all we can get, and this is all we can take, and I'll take it. So, all that being said, let's talk about it. If you enjoy, as usual, don't forget to hit that like button. I'm a bit out of breath. I quite literally just came back from the gym. So apologies for that. But nonetheless, yeah, I guess enjoy. Don't forget to hit that like button. Nothing is financial advice that I say. Make your own decisions, do your own research, all that stuff. But let's just get right into it. So, on a day, dude, I don't know if you hear those kids, but like what the hell? Anyway, so on a day where like Google, Apple, and things are down like 4 or 5%, right? For us to be green is a great sign. On top of that, it is potentially showing signs of a reversal, of a potential bottom once again. Now, of course, we've said that several times, and unfortunately, each time, believe it or not, actually confirmed, by the way, people that were potentially wondering, or we were kind of questioning it as well, this was Elon selling. All three of these red candles were days Elon sold. Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday of this week. So essentially the last 3 days, not including today. Elon did sell. It's been confirmed, the forms were filed, and that's why Tesla was just substantially underperforming the market, right? So that explains a lot. So as usual, Elon tends to always destroy us right when we need the bounce the most. We needed the bounce right here, Elon sold. We needed the bounce right here, Elon sold. Completely just destroying what could have been, in my honest opinion, several potential bullish setups and reversals. Elon comes in. It's like he hires someone that does technical analysis and purposely goes, oh, what's that? The bullish setup is ready and it needs to reverse right here, right now to actually confirm a bullish reversal and potentially get a nice, rocket up, if you will. Time to sell. It just feels like this happens. The timing is extremely interesting, to say the least. He might have sold. I can't remember if he sold here or not as well. But nonetheless, right. So Elon did sell, and that's why we had these substantial red days in a row, even though the market was green. Now, what does this mean? Can we finally reverse? And why do I think this might be the potential bottom over here? So again, it's not confirmed yet, but it is definitely showing signs of it. So there's a few things. Number one, we did close higher than yesterday's close. That's number one. That to me is already step number one. If you can close higher like this than yesterday's close, that to me is step one of a reversal, right? That's a pretty bullish thing. Another bullish thing is the fact that Tesla was obviously, relative to the market, performing fantastically today. That's another pretty bullish thing. The next thing is, of course, the fact that the bullish divergence is still here, right? As we went lower, 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 the RSI went from the lowest, which was over here, to higher, even though the stock went lower, lower. Bullish divergence still in play, still very much alive, which is a fantastic thing to see, right? On top of that, if we go to the slightly smaller time frame, you can see, let's do like 15-minute, for instance, we are actually forming what I personally like to see. Now, what I don't like to see in these kind of situations, if we had, right, this kind of massive drop like this, is a bear flag, right? This is not a bear flag. What I don't want to see is a bear flag, and what that would have looked like is something like this. If we ran up like this instead of downwards like this to the kind of bottom right, if we said to the kind of top right, if you will, like that, like I just drew, that is a bear flag, and that's not what you want to see. Instead, if you actually want to see a potential reversal, you actually want to see it kind of droop down like this slowly after already a pretty massive fall, because this usually ends up being a bullish reversal the second it breaks out, which is really, really good. I hope you guys don't hear those kids and my neighbors are screaming. It's always at 4 o'clock. It's like they know a record at 4 o'clock. They just always start screaming like crazy. It's insane. Anyway, but yeah, so that's what you want to essentially see. You want to see it break out of this potential, like a little bullish wedge, essentially, or like a descending wedge is more accurate, I guess, right? That's going to be very important. And on top of that, you can see as Tesla on like the 15-minute, even the 30-minute, right? As Tesla is making its way down. So as you can see, so let's remove this for now. Let's move it for now. But ultimately, you can see as Tesla is going like this to the bottom right, to the southeast, let's just say as an example, even on the 30-minute, beautiful bullish divergence setting up as well, which tells me that the short-term bounce is definitely around the corner. And because the daily and the 4-hour and all those things are still holding, the overall kind of potential trend change bullish divergence, because those are still intact, even though we've kept dropping and dropping and dropping and they haven't been setting any lower lows, is another sign that the reversal is here for the shorter time frame, which can actually enact the overall potential bullish reversal for the longer time frame, and we get an actual bounce for Tesla for once and for all to at least something. I'm hoping maybe like 200 or something like that. We'll see. I think I'll give you guys the first main target I'm personally looking for, and then we'll see if we can break through that, and then that can really truly confirm like an even further bullish confirmation of a reversal. But those are the things that you really want to pay attention to, and that's kind of what I like to see. So we have a lot of bullish divergences on the shorter and the longer time frames still setting up, though of course you can see it is getting a little closer to potentially getting invalidated even on the 4-hour, but nonetheless it is still very much a higher low, even though the stock is of course making lower lows, right? So now the question is, if this is the potential bottom, let's just say this is the potential bottom, where does this take us? Where can we potentially go? All right, so the first thing I'd want to see is the 21 EMA, right? The very first thing I would want to see is come up to somewhere around the 21 EMA, which will pretty much bring us into the mid to high 170s. Not only will that bring us to the 21 EMA, which is something that you want to break up above and hold, which this was like a massive trap right here. You can see we broke above it, held it, even bounced off of it, and then we just collapsed. Right, this was very, very close to being a reversal, but then unfortunately it obviously wasn't. But you want to see something like this, but like you really want to see it actually hold properly and just bounce from it, right? So this was a pretty much like a bull trap in all honesty. But pretty much what you want to see is you want to see it come up, right? So you want to see 155-ish, 156, something like that. You want to see that hold first and foremost, extremely important. You don't want to see it go below that. That's number one. And number two, if it does do that, you really want to see at least 166-ish kind of break, and then potentially most likely come up to this 178. Well, it'll come lower as it takes longer to get there, so it'll be somewhere around the mid 170s, because it's going to slowly keep coming down to us, right, as the days progress, especially if we don't just skyrocket tomorrow or something like that, right? Just keep that in mind, but it'll be the mid to high 170s. And as long as we can get to that, that'll be the first step, right? And in turn, that will also most likely have us meet this overall kind of blue line right here, which is the kind of, downward channel that we are still technically in at the moment, which is also something you would want to ideally go ahead and break. So that's something else to potentially consider. So something like this is what I'm seeing right now, right? So you really want to see it break out of this little blue line, which is pretty much more or less where that 21 EMA is. So that's gonna be like the double resistance in my opinion, and that's the line I want to see it get the hell out. And hopefully Elon doesn't sell and destroy us once again, because I strongly, wholeheartedly believe that after we broke out of this green line, beautiful breakout, come back, beautiful retest, successful, and we also ended up getting a potential double bottom, right? It was looking great until Elon started selling, and it completely destroyed everything. Now we have a gap to fill, of course, all the way up here at 170, almost 180. But Elon is like unironically destroying any potential bullish reversals and setups, which is, in all honesty, getting quite obnoxious. Like the man needs to goddamn chill. Like it feels like we're his bank or something like that. Like it's actually getting quite obnoxious. I'm a huge fan of Elon and Tesla, but enough is enough, man. Like this is just getting ridiculous. Like I'm starting to get quite annoyed that he's just like milking the hell out of us, you know what I mean? Like it's just, initially it was like, okay, fine, you needed to do it, you got to do what you got to do, but bro, come on, like this is getting kind of ridiculous. Like what the fuck? This guy tells us not to, he's like, oh, Tesla's going to get to this place, this place, blah, 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 gives us all these things like, yeah, Q4 is going to be amazing. Even like a few months ago, he was just like, yeah, I'm done selling, and then just like probably sold like 3 more times since then. It's just kind of like, a lot of mixed signals, which is, kind of makes you start losing a little bit of trust in the person and what he says. It starts making you think whatever he says is just honestly kind of just full of shit, to be completely frank, right? So that's not a good look, man. That's just not a good look, right? That's not something you want to be doing, because in all honesty, he just seems like he's just pretty much full of shit all the time. Not what you want to be seeing and giving messages like that to your shareholders or investors or whatever. That's just a bad look, right, in pretty much every angle possible. So just my 2 cents on that. But nonetheless, just through strictly technical analysis, hopefully he cannot sell anymore. I think tomorrow is the last day he can sell, and then I'm pretty sure he's not allowed to sell until Q4 4 earnings get reported in Q1, which I believe will be around January 20th, give or take. So essentially from now until pretty much end of January, he's literally not allowed to sell, as far as I'm aware, unless it's something that's already pre-planned way in advance, which I guess there technically could be. But that's something else to consider. So hopefully he's not here to just completely mess us up, and we can finally get a proper bounce that I personally think Tesla, the stock itself, has been completely overdue for. And that's essentially what I'm waiting for. And those are the levels I'm personally looking at in terms of actually kind of getting it and confirming it, right? Now, in terms of the bears, what do the bears want to see? The bears want to see this bullish divergence on the daily just completely fall apart. If we ever lose this bearish divergence and we go below this 28.34, something like that, yeah, that's fantastic for the bears and not so good for the bulls. And that would essentially only happen if Tesla loses the 155 to 150. If that level ever fails and we fall below that, this most likely will collapse in pretty much every angle, and Tesla will pretty much crash somehow, believe it or not, even further, most likely down to somewhere in the 130s, 120s. That's not what you want to see. You really want to see it hold pretty much around this 150-ish level, give or take, like, a few points here and there. Very, very important, very, very crucial. Pretty good volume today on a green day as well, so that's a good sign to see as well. So maybe some institutions that maybe had insider info that Elon was selling, they probably shorted this as well, knowing that that's going to happen. Now that they know he's done selling, they're probably repurchasing it at, in all honesty, quite phenomenal levels. So you never really know. The market is pretty rigged for the most part, but it's not, we're not here to complain about it. We're here to play the game as well and kind of, do what we can to kind of get that in our favor as much as possible, right? So yeah, that's kind of what I see, guys. That's what I'm expecting, and that is my current, I guess, analysis on it. So let me know what you guys think down below. Tomorrow should be a pretty wild day just for the market in general, so we'll see what happens with that. And the SPY in the market itself is looking pretty bearish now. We did break out entirely. I wish I shorted. I was actually going to short back up here, but I don't know why I didn't. I should have. I didn't. It's fine. But nonetheless, the market's looking pretty choppy. We might get a little bit more red before a potential bounce, and then most likely get even more red after that. And then I think the true fall for the market will happen, where hopefully Tesla, but at that time, can do its little thing and rally out of here, or maybe just completely defy the market, as it likes to sometimes do regardless. But that is essentially what I'm seeing. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Peace.